Hello everyone, welcome to my podcast, The Hidden Power. I'm your host, Dr. Susan Koruthu, life psychologist, mind wellness coach and author. I know it's been almost 3 weeks. I did not come up with any podcast. I must accept that I was procrastinating. Sometimes you feel so maybe overwhelmed with certain situations, emotions, and sometimes you go lazy. You feel like, take a break, a little more break, and a little more break. Yes, I accept. Please accept my apologies, all my listeners, that yes, I was procrastinating. Today, I came up with a very interesting area, which is victim blaming. We all know that the life of a victim, or whenever we become a victim, it is not a very great feeling. It's upsetting, it's self-doubting, self-downing, depressing sometimes. You get irritated, frustrated, you get, as if you have committed something wrong. You did some mistakes, and you don't think that you have been abused, or you have been cheated, you have been manipulated. You never think like that, but you think something wrong done by you, right? And I have been a victim for many situations and by many people, because we all, every one of us, become vulnerable, or we are weak some point of time or for a period of time. And there are always manipulators, abusers, cheaters all around us. And they get the correct or the right time to catch us, manipulate us. And when I say we become vulnerable, we become weak, now we are looking for a job, for example, and we were looking for a job for a long time. The jobs are not happening, and it's going, and we say, okay, somebody is telling us, I know some people, they can give you a job, but you need to pay a person something. Okay, so it's not for me, somebody else, then you get a job. You think, my God, the job is so important for you, so you say, it doesn't matter, I do something, and all these things you may, and then you pay, and you know that this person really fooled you, really cheated you, and there was no such job like that. And what is your condition? You become victim. Will you say this to anyone? No, you won't say. You know why? We know that it is so damaging, so self-downing. And when you become a victim, okay, this is one of, somebody cheated you, a vulnerable you. And sometimes domestic abuse happens, sometimes sexual abuse happens. And every situation you can see, most of the time the victim is getting blamed. You know why? Because if you look at when there is a robbery happens, or some kind of accident happens, we don't blame victim that much. But in all other cases, like as I told you, this interview case, or when you are in a kind of a domestic abuse or sexual abuse, people think that we know the perpetrator, we know the abuser. So we have, knowing, you become a victim. So that is what people, the people say, we don't understand how come you become a victim. So what happened here is, the people who are around you, they first started to blame you. That is what is called victim blaming. In the victimology, it clearly says that we need to protect a victim. We need to do something to help them before that. Okay, we may help, or if we do something to a system, but mostly the human tendency is that to blame the victim. They will say, you didn't know this person was like that. You are an educated person. How come this happened to you? I could have accepted if it was happening to somebody else, but you are educated, you're experienced, you have this, that, and everything. And they just started to blame you. And then they will say, you didn't know this was coming. Okay, it was obvious when this person behaves like this, or this person started to talk like this, or this person started to do certain actions, and his behavior, it was evident, and you didn't know, and why you didn't seek help before? Is it now you came to know that, this is a problem? Why you didn't take much noise before? Or you didn't make much noise before, you were okay with all this thing, and why you are doing a big, doing this as a big deal now, is it this moment you realize that you have been going through this abuse? Or maybe you realize that this person is, you don't like this person. Maybe it is in a domestic abuse, you don't like this person, and you come up with all these things. Or, oh my God, this person, we can't believe this person does something like that. Maybe you did something, you said something which was upsetting him or her, and then this happened. Or, normally, a common prejudice is that, as I told you, that the abuser are known to the victim when it is in domestic and sexual violences. And then, people will blame the victim, that the victim is anyway responsible for the actions of the offenders or the abuser. So the truth is that anyone can be a victim of manipulation, and therefore victim blaming. You say that we there are people who criticize you and always sometimes bully you. It's similar to that. Victim blaming is also a universal phenomenon. Everybody do that, and the victim blame include for example, she was asking for it. Okay, now when somebody is cheated by their boyfriend, or in a marriage, or into a kind of a relationship that is not right, or you are in a company where there are narcissistic personalities, or even in the marriage life there is narcissistic personalities, and people want you that that may not be a good relationship, you entered there and then you gone through it, or maybe you ignored certain type of abusers, and then you ignore again, and then you finally you end up in having a very deeper trouble, or as a strong victim. Then people say you were asking for it, you didn't do anything. And sometimes people don't believe the victim's story, and they say that I can't believe it, and if something happened to you like that, I don't believe something like that. Or minimizing the severity of the attack, oh, this is what you're saying so much, I have gone through bigger than this, or my cousin has gone to bigger than this, or my friend has undergone something bigger than this, and this is such a small thing, you can't handle it, or you're so sensitive. So these kind of comments, and sometimes like you say, it is so shameful, don't tell anyone, shame is on you, and you are not strong and assertive, that's why it happened to you, it's better you keep quiet. And again, as I told you, how could you get into such a trouble? You have so much of experience, you are a strong person, and all those things, in a very difficult situation. And sometimes I say, even the victim, maybe we are a victim of a very vulnerable time, like we lost our in loved ones or something, and then people started to, oh, we understand, we know what you're going through. Even that can be a victim blame kind of things, because we don't know what that person is going through. We can't just say that completely that what that person is going through. So sometimes people get upset when we say that. And what happens in the victim blaming is, victim blaming scares the victim. It makes the victim so more and more vulnerable, more and more upsetting. So they try to cover everything, because okay, I become a victim, why do I need to get blamed again? So most of the victim silence themselves. They don't want to tell, because they don't know how people will react, our loved ones will react. They may attack me again. So first of all, I become a victim, I cannot take anything more, they think, and they become silent. And that silence is the catalyst for the abuser. Abuser thinks that, okay, nothing will happen. She will not say, because she is concerned about her, status, her pride, or this or that. So the abuser get a chance to abuse the victim more. we need to understand that we all become victims at one point of time or other, because we are all vulnerable, or we have weaknesses. Everybody has got their weaknesses or some weak point or some vulnerable time in our life. So there are chances that, we all have the chance to become a victim. And when you look at your life so far, you can see that in many places, small or big, short or long, we all become victims, and that's not a nice feeling at all. So what we need to do is, we need to understand that we all become victims, so that we need to develop an empathetic heart and an empathetic ear to support the victim. What you need to do is you just listen to them, accept them, just understand what happened, how it happened, what can be done, a service orientation, understand the political scenarios, and helping the victim rather than making the victim more and more shameful or upset or sad, and self-sabotage or self-blaming again. All those areas you need to be careful about, and just be empathetic and develop a non-judgmental and unconditional positive regard to all the people, and so that you will never judge anybody, and you will have the right or the same level of connection or understanding or behavior towards everyone. And when we become empathetic, not having a judgmental attitude, that means you are non-judgmental and you have unconditional positive regard, you are service oriented, and then the environment is going to be good. And we all need to make the environment so positive and so confident, so that the victims are confident to present their issues confidently to their loved ones. And that is what we all need to do. And when victims get the confidence of not being blamed or accused for things wrongly happen to them, they will take the courage to share the issues and seek proper help. Otherwise they will not, because they are scared, they're upset, and they are more feeling down. So make that confidence happen in the victim. If you come across a victim, the victim is because of that particular moment or some vulnerable point or some kind of weakness happened, and they become a victim. And it can happen to anyone and any time. So we all are susceptible to all these things, the victimhood, and therefore understand them, have an empathetic heart, non-judgmental attitude, have an unconditional positive regard, and that will help all the victims to come up and share their pain and their frustrations, what they have gone through, and they can get help and regain their balance and start a new life. I hope you enjoyed today's message. If you love my message, remember to share them with your friends so that they can also benefit from them. There are over 40 episodes in the Hidden Power podcast, which are aimed to influence your thinking and shaping your life in the best way possible. You can get them from my website too. Please visit www.drsusankoruthu.com. Take care and much love from your host, Dr. Susan Koruthu. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, live well and laugh more. May God bless us all.